G'day guys, and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I will be going through 5 players that I believe will have a breakout year in 2024. Now if you aren't following me on Instagram, you definitely should. Head over there, hit that follow button so you don't miss some quality content. Just search AdosTheGreat and I'll be there. You would have saw, if you are following me, that I've dropped this already on Instagram, but I'm going into more depth in this video. Also guys, while you're pressing buttons, hit that sub button if you enjoy rugby league and just having a bit of a conversation about all that good stuff. The NRL, the rugby league, whatever, even NBA. I dabble a little bit in NBA. I actually have a fair bit of knowledge about it, but yeah. Also, like the video. All right, guys, let's get into it. So my first breakout player is going to be Jaden Campbell from the Gold Coast Titans. Now, Campbell had a relatively quiet year last year. He did play a fair few games. I think he had 20 or 21 or something like that, but a lot of it was short minutes coming off the bench. There wasn't too many games where he really featured heavily in that Titans squad. And in 2024, he's been given the keys to that fullback spot with AJ Brimson moving into the centres. So I think he is in for a massive season. So in 2023, Jaden Campbell finished the season with 5 tries, 118 metres per game, only 3 try assists, 11 line breaks, and he finished with a fantasy score. So if you are interested in fantasy like myself, he finished with 33 fantasy points per game. Now that is not too bad realistically in this small sample size we've got of him, but I think, as I said, given the keys for 2024, that's his position now. He can make it his. He can play the way that he wants to play, and I think we can definitely see those numbers rise like crazy. I definitely expect to see double-digit try assists and even double-digit tries in 2024. So Jaden Campbell is my first breakout player for 2024, guys. Let me know, do you agree with that take? Do you disagree? Would love to hear from you. All right, my next player is Josh Curran from the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. So if you are unaware, guys, Josh Curran has come from the Warriors to the Bulldogs. And at the Warriors, he was actually pretty good. Just didn't get the opportunity that he probably deserved there. Not too sure if that was an attitude issue. Just didn't work out with the club. I don't really know, and I'm not going to go into those details. However, a fresh start with the Bulldogs, who are desperate for forwards. I think he is going to take this opportunity with both hands and run with it. Last year, he had 29 tackle breaks, 24 tackles per game, and 61 metres per game. Now, I know it doesn't sound too good, but that was on limited minutes, and he did come off the bench for the majority of those games. However, in 2022, it was a lot better. 35 tackles per game, which is pretty good, to be fair, and 83 metres per game. So definitely improvement there. But I just don't believe he was given the opportunity at the Warriors to excel. And I think at the Bulldogs playing lock, I'm assuming he's going to play lock because he'll have Kickow and Preston in the second row. I think that is going to just revitalise him, give him a really good fresh start there in a team that really needs a player like him. So I do think that those numbers will skyrocket. I would say closer to 100 metres per game and around that 2022 mark of 35 to 40 tackles per game. I think he is in for a big year in 2024, and that is why he is number 2 on my list for breakout players in 2024. All right, number 3, this is my boy from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I'm expecting big things from this player, and that is Talis Duncan. So in 7 games in 2023, we witnessed Talis Duncan break 13 tackles and made 18 tackles per game at 93% efficiency. So really good stuff there with limited minutes off the bench. He made 71 metres per game. So, when he was given the opportunity, he took it with both hands and ran with it. We saw a few long-range tries from him. That one off the kickoff, I think it was against the Bulldogs, was incredible. He got the dummy away and just broke straight through the middle. He looks amazing. He really does. Definitely a mold of Cameron Murray, but he's his own man. He is going to definitely excel in 2024. If he was in the running for Rookie of the Year, I 100% would say you can lock him in now. But unfortunately, he has played 2 games too many to be given that award. So I do think we'll see a massively improved season for Talis Duncan. I think he will be a breakout player in 2024. I'm expecting him to eventually get a second row spot with the Rabbitohs there this year. And then actually, I think Cameron Murray will take a lot of those second row minutes and Talis Duncan will play a fair bit at lock. That is just my opinion there, guys, but I do think that will happen. I think that also gives Cam Murray the freedom to play 80 minutes. He won't be as gassed doing all that work in the middle. Yeah, I think he still will play a lot of footy in the middle, but I think it will be shared with Talis. So, yeah, that is my prediction there for number 3. Talis Duncan is my breakout player there. All right, next up, we've got Ben Trebojevic, and I'm not going to go through his stats because realistically, injuries have hammered the poor bugger, and his stats don't look all that great. But I think he is in for a massive season. And look, I know we see him excel pretty much every year in the preseason. We're always talking about him saying he's going to just tear it up this year. And I feel like we've been saying that for the last 2 years now. But I genuinely believe it in 2024. The biggest thing for Ben is if he can stay healthy, he is going to have a huge season. That is a big if, though. A Trebojevic staying healthy is a big if, unless your name's Jake. It's not really on the cards for you, it seems, but I do think that he is definitely a player that can break out in 2024, and that's why he's on my list, because I think he will be one of those players that does. Fingers crossed he stays fit. All right, next up, we've got a player that was one of the best forwards in the entire NRL. And to be honest, a few years ago, it wasn't even close. And that is Jason Taumalolo. Now, obviously, JT has fallen off a little bit over the last few years. No fault of his own, in my opinion. I think there's a few factors that come into it. Injury being one of them, and another one we'll talk about a little bit later. So in 2020, we saw Jason Taumalolo average the most run meters per game of his career with 207 meters per game. Crazy stuff. Like, that was insane. Then in 2021, 22, and 23, altogether, he averaged 151 meters per game. Not bad at all, but a big fall off from what we saw in 2020. Now, I will say injuries have played a massive part in that. He only played 16 games last season due to injury, and a lot of those games were him starting off the bench. Didn't really get too many starts, I don't believe, in 2023. So, yeah, I think we will see a revitalized Jason Taumalolo in 2024. So in 2020, he averaged, again, fantasy points here. He averaged 62 fantasy points per game. Last season, it was nearly half that. He averaged 34. Now, I get that injury and, he played on the bench for a good part of that. So I do think that played a role in that. Another thing to look at is last year he only had 3 offloads for the entire season, which was his lowest since his second year in the NRL in 2011. In 2017, he made 30 offloads, which was his career high in 1 year. Like, to go from 30 in 2017 and then gradually drop off to 3 is crazy. It is crazy. But one thing that I think we've got to look at here is in 2021, where he sort of started to regress a little bit, was when he was made captain. Now, I think the captain, he's got to take ownership of the team, and I don't think he can play his style of footy and be captain. The good news for Jason Taumalolo, and the reason I've got him on my breakout list, is the captaincy has been relieved of him. So he won't captain the side this year. It's been given to Ruben Cotter and Tommy Dearden. I think this is a blessing in disguise for JT. Now, I think he's a great leader, and I think he's going to continue to lead that club. However, I think the workload of being a captain is, I think it adds a lot of pressure to him. And I think with that relieving of that pressure, he's going to just excel and find his form from a few years ago. Like, it's crazy the drop-off he had last season, but I do expect to see JT back to his barnstorming best. I know he is getting older, which does also play a factor in all of this. But I think we'll see a revitalised season for Jason Taumalolo, and I do think that he could move from that 150 metres per game back up to around the mid-180s. So that is my prediction there. I do think he's going to have a massive season, and he is my 5th and final breakout player for 2024. Guys, drop down below your breakout player for 2024. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, my friends, I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.